I hate my phone. I spend far too many hours on it looking at things that I don't even really care about. And even though I know the traps that it sets, I fall into them every single time. There's so many things I want to do with my life, so many activities, so many goals I have that I want to achieve while I'm on this earth. And it just seems like this thing sucks up all of that time. Or it did. I've struggled with phone addiction for years, and it wasn't until about the last year or so that I really started to feel progress in my relationship with my phone. And the last 4 or 5 months, actually, I feel pretty good about how much I'm using my phone, how I'm using my phone. In this video, I wanted to talk about my experiences that I've had with cell phone addiction and talk about some of the methods I've used to quite a bit of success to kind of get me out of that trap of always having to be on my phone. I'll also talk about some things that I tried and they didn't work for me. I just hate that feeling of not having control, to being under the control of someone or something else. So the first thing I did was I went into my iPhone settings and I limited my screen time. I think many people probably know this now. You can actually go in and set limits for having this amount of time on this app or these kind of apps. The problem is that it's very easy to just put in your password and take that lock off. It didn't work because after a while, as soon as the message would pop up, automatically my thumbs would just punch in the password and I'd go back to looking at whatever I was looking at. So the next thing I did was I just deleted the apps. So things like Netflix, YouTube, Instagram, those were probably my 3 biggest apps that I used all the time. I just deleted them off my phone. And it did cause a little more friction. If I wanted to access that kind of content, I couldn't just get onto Instagram or get onto YouTube mindlessly. I had to re-download the app, put in my sign-in information and do it again. So it gave me a good 30 seconds, a 30-second window where I could try and get my free will to kick in. But what I've realized through this process specifically is that I do not have a lot of free will, and especially if I'm trying to kick a habit, free will is not the method that is going to be successful for me. I don't grit my teeth and bear anything. So I have to be very strict on myself in ways where even if I change my mind and want to access that content, I cannot. The first thing that I did actually started to kind of work is I turned off all of my alarms, noise alarms specifically. There was no alarm on my phone that had any kind of noise. So if I was doing an activity, the sound was not going to pull me away from that activity. And that included things like phone calls. I don't think that most phone calls are warranted, to be honest. I think that most things can be resolved in an email or a text message. I think that calling someone is basically like taking someone's chin and like forcing their head to look at you and talk to you. I find it very rude. I get so upset because you're taking away my time. You're forcing me to spend my time on you, and I don't like that. It was kind of nice to be able to talk to people on my time. I didn't have to respond to things in real time. And if they called me and I missed that call and they asked, "Oh, what were you doing?" I could make up an excuse. "Oh, I'm sorry, I was in the shower. Oh, I was in the bathroom. Oh, I was on the train. There are a million different ways to do that. How are they going to know? There are a few people in my phone that I know if they are calling me, it is an emergency. It is an answer that they need right away, and I will pick it up. Everyone else, just completely ignored. And that even goes for cacao messages or text messages that I get. I don't see the need to look at them right away. I'm sorry. And I know that makes me a bad person, but it's something I needed to do. I had to start making these limits because it's not often the messages themselves that are the problem. It's the nefarious point that once I look at the messages, I'm already on my phone. And once I'm on my phone, I have a lot of temptation to go into my internet browser, to get on social media, to jump onto YouTube. So I had to make that a rule for myself, and it's a method I still use. Another thing that I did and continue to do, my phone generally doesn't go with me into the bedroom, and if it is in the bedroom, it's like on the floor far away, but it is not easily accessible to me. If I'm in the living room, I will put my phone on the kitchen table. Or if I'm in my study, I will put my phone in the living room. I'm a lazy person. So there becomes a cost-benefit analysis of, is getting up, picking up my phone worth the effort I'm going to have to spend standing up and walking over to it? Those two methods alone gave me enough progress to kind of see that it was possible, that I wasn't always going to be beholden to my phone. So I started thinking about how far I can go, and I went a little too far. There were two things that I did that maybe I shouldn't have done. The first was I would spend hours where I had my phone turned off completely. Like, we're talking 2, 3, 4 hours of the day. While it was great to have that amount of silence, probably not the best choice. There were a couple of times that people were trying to contact me about something that was time sensitive and I wasn't available. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but it was nice to have that amount of time. Maybe I would do something like that when I'm on vacation, but it might not be something that's good for day to day. Another thing that I did is if I had to go somewhere, I would just leave my phone at home, which is almost unthinkable nowadays. But my thought process was, hey, I'm a 90s kid. I remember leaving the house with nothing, not even a wallet, and just being fine for hours on end. But I realized that sometimes you need your map app, and that is a very useful part of the phone. And when you don't have it, you can get lost, and then it takes you a lot of extra time to get where you need to go. With those extreme measures that I was taking, I realized that I was not only blocking the things I didn't like about the phone, I was blocking a lot of the benefits of the phone as well. Like, being able to talk is great. Being able to look up your route whenever you're going somewhere is great. So I didn't want to give that up. That's when I started looking at other methods to block out just certain apps. I did come across different apps that are in the App Store that will block certain parts of your phone so that you can't use them. A lot of people who are studying use this. So the app that I've decided to use to help me is Freedom. This is not a paid endorsement. It is just what I use. It is a paid app. It's kind of expensive. I'm sure there are some freer options. What I've done is I've set up 2 12-hour blocks from noon to midnight and midnight to noon. That apps like YouTube, Twitter, which I never really use, TikTok, I've never used at all, Instagram, Facebook, I cannot access those apps or the websites through my web browser at all, ever. And the great thing about this app is I can't unlock it. Once I set that time frame that I can't look at these apps, it does not allow me to look at them at all, which is a little scary because you're like, well, what if maybe? I found that, there's really not a time where I absolutely have to look at YouTube. There's not a time where I absolutely have to look at Instagram. But the reason I've done 2 12-hour sessions instead of 1 24-hour session is just in case I know I'm going to need to use an app in advance. So the morning of the day that I know that a video is going to come out, I will go ahead and delete the afternoon session. I will have that time, but it is not immediate. So if I wake up at 8 a.m., I will have to go into the app and delete that session so that in the afternoon, I will be able to do it. If I forget to delete the session, well, I'll just have to wait till I'm home and on my computer and can answer the comments then. I think in this whole process, I've realized that in the moment, responding to things in real time on my phone seems very important and very urgent. But if you just let whatever happened pass for 20 minutes, it's really not that big of a deal. There have been lots of times where someone has messaged me something really quickly, like I needed an answer, and I don't see the message. And then 15 minutes later, they text me back and they say, oh, never mind, I figured out the answer, or oh, I solved the problem. So what are all the things that I have blocked on my phone? I don't have YouTube. I don't have any social media at all. I don't have any news I cannot read the news. I do have access to Wikipedia just in case, and no game. What do I have on my phone? I do have my map app. I have Wikipedia. I have my phone. I can still make phone calls. Same with text messages. Anything related to study. I have a very basic editing program where I edit videos, my banking apps. I also have access to Coupang to buy things like groceries. Delivery apps as well. I'm not always able to make food at home, so having food delivery apps is definitely a must on my phone. And of course, my camera and my photos, I can look at all of those as well. But it really has become something of a dumb phone because I can't do a lot of the really fancy things that smartphones can do nowadays. Because even though it would be fun to have, I know that I am not able to use them responsibly. And it's been so good. It's been so good. It feels like a huge weight has been taken off my chest, off of my shoulders, with what I'm doing on my phone and how I feel it is subconsciously controlling me. It does have some drawbacks. I'm not contacting people as much as I used to, and I'm not able to look at all of the comments and private messages I get on Instagram or Facebook anymore. So I'm very sorry about that. If you do want to contact me, I do look at my comments on my videos for about the first 2 days, but I find that I can't look at the comments on a video past that really. It doesn't work well for my mental health to constantly be checking the comments. If you would like to talk to me in the comment section, please feel free to do that down below. However, if the video is a little bit older, I might not see it. Thank you for watching today, and I wish you all the best.